Oh no, we're recording. Oh no. Cold opening again. What are you doing? Taking time looking at your notes?
Getting my notes.
That's crazy. Here we go. Cold opening. It's been a day. Today's Monday.
Or a bit late, but off schedule.
It happens. One day we'll be consistent. Or not. It's fine.
I think we've already started.
Started what? Being consistent?
Yeah.
Being consistently not on Monday mornings, but recording Monday nights?
It's technically evening right now.
Yes. Normally the episodes drop at 5 a.m. on Monday. We're just not recording after 5 p.m. on Monday. Things happen. Life gets in the way.
The last and final part of Norse Mythology.
No. Nope. Not the final part. There might be two more.
The part in this sequence. The last part of this
quite
sequence.
a series. There's stories to be told before we can get to the end.
So many.
Do you know any, have you studied any of the out of this world stories that these people get up to? People, relatively speaking. We're going to get into some stuff, and we're probably going to get into some stuff you had no idea about.
Most likely.
Whatsoever. And I definitely learned some stuff that I didn't know. There's so much that I didn't know. And I still don't know. Still questions. Still wild interpretations.
Yes.
Anyway, you're Phoenix. I'm Will, and we're here to bring on the questions.
Yes, we are.
Where can we find all these episodes?
Linktree.com/BOTQS.
That's it. That's where all the links are. You can go there and find the link for the Spotify, for the Apple, for the YouTube, where you can watch these episodes.
Yes. The easiest way to get to all of the links.
Well, one time, we'll decorate all this here. We get the light curtain in here. Have it in here. But then that's only for the visual people. Then go to YouTube and find us there. Yes. So, Miss Phoenix, what question are we bringing in this episode?
What are some of the stories of Norse gods and goddesses? And it's part 3 of this sequence. For people who aren't as interested in Norse mythology, don't worry, we're gonna get into other things.
Eventually. We could... I mean, it's totally up to you. We can just keep going with Norse mythology because there's so much to be said here. We could totally take a break from Norse mythology and do something else, then come back to it. Or maybe a couple episodes of something else, and come back to it. There's still lots to cover. I'm pretty sure there's at least 2 more episodes. Could be a 4-part series. But, I mean, this is our show, man. We can keep on going Norse mythology, or we can dive into something else. What do you want to do? Talk about it after this episode?
Maybe.
Then it'll be a surprise. The next one?
What if we talked about the history of 4th of July?
Where are you going 4th of July?
It's still July.
It is still July.
We're gonna do Halloween and Christmas episodes before it's Christmas.
We're already past the 4th of July. It's still July. Country is almost 250. Yep. Next year, the country will be 250 years old.
Dang, we're 249.
Our town is 199. It'll be 200 next year. Yep. You're welcome. I know that.
Well, our town had a name before, so is it the original name?
No, the second one.
So, the current name
will be 200 next year. Mm-hmm. One day, maybe we'll get into that history. That'd be fun. I mean, do you want to do it? Do you want to do a 4th of July or American Independence episode, however you want to say it. Why do we celebrate the 4th of July?
Why do we use fireworks?
Fireworks. What is it? Because of Thor. No, it's not because of Thor. But we should definitely get into this episode. We're already how many minutes in? We haven't even spoken of Norseness. New word, I just made that up. Norseness. Let's see. There's quite a bit here that comes directly from Norse-mythology.org. So go there, check all the things out. There's tons of information. And I try to reword it so it's not, plagiarism or all that. We'll try to do quotes where we take it directly from there. But anyway, so we'll start with some Norse figures that are not the major super popular ones, Odins and the Freyjas and the Thors and the Lokis. We'll get into a mix of everything. Possibly. All right, soul. Pronounced like the English word soul, S-O-U-L, Old Norse S, umlaut, O? So the little tick on top of the O is umlaut? All right, so S-O-L, or sun, and Mani, pronounced M-A-H-N-E-E, Mani, are, as their name suggests, the divinities of the sun and the moon, respectively. Soul is female, and Mani is male. Soul and Mani form a sister and brother pair. When they first emerged as the cosmos was being created, they didn't know what their powers were or what their role was in the new world. Then the gods met together and created the different parts of the day and year and the phases of the moon so that Soul and Mani would know where they fit into the great scheme of things. Want to take the next one?
Sure. They ride through the sky on horse-drawn chariots. The horses who pull Mani's chariot are never named, but Soul's horses are apparently named
Arvakar,
Early Riser, and Alsvider, Swift. They ride swiftly because they're pursued through the sky by the wolf's skull, Mockery, and Hate, who will overtake them when the cosmos
descends?
When the cosmos descends.
Yeah, when the cosmos descends into chaos during Ragnarok. The cosmos is the combination of all the celestial things.
So it's a pronoun.
Yes. Now you got it. That's why it sounds weird. They will overtake them when the cosmos descends back into chaos during Ragnarok. Yes. According to one of the poems in the Poetic Edda, a figure named Svalin rides in the sun's chariot and holds a shield between her and the earth below. If he didn't do this, both the land and the sea would be consumed in flames. Elsewhere, the father of Soul and Mani is named as Muldalfari, about whom we know nothing. So, how do you like that? You don't know anything about that guy. His name might mean the one who moves according to particular times. That's fun, huh? Want to take the next one?
Sure. The medieval Icelandic historian Snorri Sturluson, whose Prose Edda can't be taken at face value, but nevertheless is in most low-quality introductory books on Norse mythology, offers a story that combines these disparate,
like they're different.
Disparate references into a whole. The story isn't attested anywhere else, and very well may be an invention of Snorri's rather than a traditional pre-Christian tale.
Snorri, what are you doing, man? Get yourself together. Stop making stuff up.
According to Snorri,
Muldalfari,
had two children who were so beautiful that he called the girl Sol after the sun and the boy Mani after the moon. Sun married a man called Glenir,
Sure.
opening in the clouds. The sun, which had originated as a spark in Muspelheim, was pulled through the sky in a chariot, but the chariot had no driver. The gods were so outraged by Mondafari's arrogance in the names he chose for his children, so they forced Sol to drive the sun's chariot.
Those darned gods. The conception of the sun and the moon riding on chariots through the sky is evidently a very old one among the Norse and other Germanic peoples. It can be found on rock carvings and other Scandinavian artifacts from the Bronze Age, perhaps the most notable of which is the Trundholm sun chariot. The idea that the sun deity was female and with a name that means simply sun is also attested among the continental Germanic peoples. So while we don't know much about Sol and Mani, we can be sure that the basic conception they indicate is not only authentic, but was part of a pre-Christian Germanic religion from the earliest times. Very cool, right? Now, about the things that chase Sol and Mani through the sky.
Skull. That was...
What happened? Was the voice cracked there?
Yeah.
Growing pains?
Huh?
Growing pains?
I don't know. Skull, pronounced roughly skull. Old Norse. Skull.
One who mocks, yep.
One who mocks. And Haiti, pronounced Haiti, one who hates, are two wolves that are only mentioned in passing references that have to do with their pursuing Sol and Mani, the sun and moon, through the sky in hopes of devouring them. At Ragnarok, the downfall of the cosmos, they catch their prey as the sky and earth darken and collapse.
It's not entirely clear which one of them pursues the sun and which one pursues the moon. The medieval Icelandic historian Snorri Sturluson, this guy again, whose works are typically taken at face value in low quality. What? Taken at face value, low quality introductory books on Norse mythology, claims that Skoll chases the sun and Haiti? You said Haiti. I think it's Hati. Hati? We'll go with Haiti. Sounds good. The sun and Haiti the moon. However, Snorri's source in this passage, the Edic poem Grimnismal, says the following in the relevant stanza. Skoll is the name of the wolf who follows the shining priest into the desolate forest, and the other is Hati, Hroðvirnir's son, who chases the bright bride of the sky.
The noun used for Skoll's prey, Godi, priest, is masculine, and the noun used for Hati's prey, Brudor, bride, is feminine. Since Mani, the moon, is male, and Sol, the sun, is female, the wording of the stanza strongly suggests that Skoll hunts the moon and Hati the sun.
The same stanza names the father of Hati and surely by extension Skoll as well as Hroðvirnir. Since another poem in the Poetic Edda, the Lokasenna, uses the essentially identical word Hroðvirnir, famous wolf, as a byname for Fenrir, the arch-wolf, it would seem that Fenrir is their father. Interesting. This interpretation finds additional support in another Edic poem, the Voluspa, which states that the children of Fenrir swallow the sun during Ragnarok. So that would mean the chronology is crazy for Norse mythology. So that would mean Loki would have already had to been the father of Fenrir before Fenrir had the wolves, had his children to chase Sol and Mani through the sky. Doesn't really make sense to me. So Does that mean Midgard was dark? Or Soleimani were there, and then eventually Fenrir's kids came? The chronology is wacky. I don't know enough for that part.
Very weird.
Ultimately, however, proposing a definitive genealogical relationship between Fenrir, Skoll, and Hati is futile. The sources themselves give contradictory interpretations, which reflects the lack of systematization or codification in the Norse religion back when it was a living tradition. As with so many other aspects of Norse mythology and religion, any single tidy interpretation we might try to foist upon the material today, in the interest of resolving its many contradictions, is a modern artificial imposition.
The Norse pantheon is primarily divided into two main tribes of gods, the Aesir and the Vanir, with each with distinct domains and characteristics, yet deeply intertwined through conflict and integration. The Aesir constitute the principal pantheon in Norse mythology, strongly associated with war, governments, and the maintenance of cosmic order. Odin, also known as Woden or Wotan, is the chief of the Aesir and the most revered deity. His vast domains encompass wisdom, war, death, poetry, and magic. He is often depicted as a long-bearded, one-eyed old man. Odin's relentless pursuit of knowledge is a central theme in his myths. He famously sacrificed one of his eyes to drink from Mimir's well, thereby gaining immense cosmic wisdom.
And this next passage is directly from NorseMythology.org. It's about Odin and his when he gave up his eye. So this is like a brief telling of that, but I copied it directly from NorseMythology.org. So, quote, Odin ventured to Mimir's well. There dwelt Mimir, a shadowy being whose knowledge of all things was practically unparalleled among the inhabitants of the cosmos. He achieved this status largely by taking his water from the well, whose waters impart this cosmic knowledge. When Odin arrived, he asked Mimir for a drink from the water. The well's guardian, knowing the value of such a draught, refused unless the seeker offered an eye in return. Odin, whether straight away or after anguished deliberation, we can only wonder, gouged out one of his eyes and dropped it into the well. Having made the necessary sacrifice, Mimir dipped his horn into the well and offered the now one-eyed god a drink. Unquote.
I don't know if I'd do
that. Odin is crazy. His pursuit of knowledge is unparalleled to anybody else. Well, he went to the well of knowledge, and he's like, Mimir's like, gonna need an eye. And so maybe Odin thought about it, maybe he didn't, but it was, there you go. And now he has more knowledge. And then at some point, we will get into that here shortly. The next part is his sacrifice to learn about the runes and how rune magic works.
As for what knowledge he obtained after sacrificing his eye, we're not entirely sure. The assumption from NorseMythology.org is that he exchanged one mode of perception for another. But again, they're not entirely clear on what mode of perception Odin may have gotten the deal. Another profound act of self-sacrifice saw him hang himself on Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights, pierced by his own spear, Gungnir, to discover the magical power of the runes. This act granted him secret wisdom and the ability to perform powerful magic, such as curing the sick, calming storms, turning weapons against attackers, and influencing love. He's also a shapeshifter, able to travel through the worlds in various forms while his body remains in a trance.
Odin, man. Listen to this sacrifice. It's crazy, too. I said crazy so many times a day because of also fieldwork. But again, this is taken. I think we're going to tag team this quite a bit, but it's taken directly from NorseMythology.org because it's written great. So we'll quote it, and then we'll tell you when it's done with the quote. But there's quite a few lines here. All right, here we go. Quote: "The runes are the written letters that were used by the Norse and other Germanic peoples before the adoption of the Latin alphabet in the later Middle Ages. Unlike the Latin alphabet, which is essentially utilitarian script, the runes are symbols of some of the most powerful forces in the cosmos. In fact, the word rune and its cognates across past and present Germanic languages mean both letter and secret/mystery. The letters called runes allow one to access, interact with, and influence the world-shaping forces they symbolize. Thus, when Odin sought the runes, he wasn't merely attempting to acquire a set of arbitrary representations of human vocal sounds. Rather, he was uncovering an extraordinarily potent system of magic."
At the center of the Norse cosmos stands the great tree Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil's upper branches cradle Asgard, the home and fortress of the Aesir gods and goddesses, of whom Odin is the chief. Yggdrasil grows out of the Well of Erd, a pool whose fathomless depths hold many of the most powerful forces and beings in the cosmos. Among these beings are the Norns, three sagacious maidens who create the fates of all beings. One of the foremost techniques they use to shape fate is carving runes into Yggdrasil's trunk. The symbols then carry these intentions throughout the tree, affecting everything in the 9 worlds.
Odin watched the Norns from his seat in Asgard and envied their powers and their wisdom, and he bent his will toward the task of coming to know the runes. Since the runes' native home is in the Well of Erd with the Norns, and since the runes do not reveal themselves to any but those who prove themselves worthy of such fearful insights and abilities, Odin hung himself from a branch of Yggdrasil, pierced himself with his spear, and peered downward into the shadowy waters below. He forbade any of the other gods to grant him the slightest aid, not even a sip of water, and he stared downward, and called to the runes.
That's a massive sacrifice.
Right? Sacrificed, yeah, until he got more knowledge. And that was the powerful magic. Knowledge is power.
It really is. He survived in this state, teetering on the
Precipice.
that separates the living from the dead for no less than 9 days and nights. At the end of the 9th night, he at last perceived shapes in the depths, the runes. They had accepted his sacrifice and shown themselves to him, revealing to him not only their forms, but also the secrets that lie within them. Having fixed this knowledge in his formidable memory, Odin ended his ordeal with a scream of exultation. Having been initiated into the mysteries of the runes, Odin recounted, "Then I was fertilized and became wise. I truly grew and thrived. From a word to a word, I was led to a word. From a work to a work, I was led to a work."
Yeah. Almost sends chills down your back. Like he was on the very edge of death, and the tree, Well of Erd, gave him the knowledge. Like he was in between. Maybe it was a rebirth. Maybe he was already like closer to death than he was life, and he got the knowledge to not die. Equipped with the knowledge of how to wield the runes, he became one of the mightiest and most accomplished beings in the cosmos. He learned chants that enabled him to heal emotional and bodily wounds, to bind his enemies and render their weapons worthless, to free himself from constraints, to put out fires, to expose and banish practitioners of malevolent magic, to protect his friends in battle, to wake the dead, to win and keep a lover, and to perform many other feats like these. End quote. from NorseMythology.org. Awesome. The mighty power of Odin. Because he sacrificed stuff. He had a bunch of kids and a bunch of lovers. But his pursuit of knowledge was unreal.
Yeah.
And later on, I guess a little bit of a spoiler or something, he practiced a more feminine version of magic, the satyr magic. I think we did talk about that a little bit. And by practicing that, his his male friends, male children or whatever were like, dude, that's girl magic. Like, what are you doing? Don't practice girl magic. He's like, I want to know all the things. I don't care if it's girl magic. You talking about girl magic. It's magic.
Magic is magic.
Get over yourself. Right? Magic is magic. Learn it all.
Can't separate the magics. Magic is magic.
Exactly. Satyr magic. Read the next part.
Odin is often accompanied by his two ravens, Hugin, thought, and Munin, memory, who fly across the world gathering information and reporting back to him.
Again, taken from NorseMythology.org. What is that quote? And it's just a short one here. Two ravens sit on his shoulders and whisper all the news which they see and hear into his ear. They are called Hugin and Munin. He sends them out in the morning to fly around the world, and by breakfast they are back again. Thus he finds out many new things, and this is why he is called Raven God, or Hrafnagul. Hrafnagul? Hi, we're recording.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh. Those ravens must be quick. If they're back by breakfast.
Mm-hmm. Send them out in the morning, and then they're back by breakfast. Maybe they eat late breakfast.
Or maybe he sends them out at not even dawn, but before dawn.
Maybe they eat late breakfast. Second breakfast. I don't know. Want to take the next part?
Odin is usually accompanied by his two wolves, Geri, meaning the greedy one, or the ravenous one, and Freki, which also means some kind of form of greed, but more covetous and gluttonous. Covetous and gluttonous. They were Odin's constant companions, often depicted by his side in Valhalla. This symbolized their unwavering loyalty and protection. Geri and Freki often reflected Odin's fierce, warlike aspect and his relentless pursuit of knowledge. Their greedy and ravenous names linked them to Odin's insatiable hunger for wisdom and power. They accompanied Odin on his travels and in myths were said to consume the flesh of fallen warriors from the feast of Valhalla, while Odin himself only consumed wine. The wolves were seen as symbols of the Viking warrior spirit, strong, cunning, and formidable in battle. Geri and Freki could also be seen as embodying the wild, untamed forces of nature that Odin, as a god, governed and respected.
Represented. So he had ravens. He had two ravens. He had two wolves. And he had all this rune knowledge and different perception because he gave up the one eye for a new perception, possibly, potentially.
He used to have two eyes.
Right. But now he has one eye, but it's a different perception. But his eye is still in the Well of Erd. He is mighty powerful.
Mighty intelligent.
Yes. But still, he cannot escape Wyrd or fate. W-I-R-D? Weird? Wired? I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. All right, now we're going to talk about Frigg, and then we'll talk about Freyja. While some sources say Frigg is the daughter of the giant Fjorgen, the masculine form, others suggest she is the daughter of Fjorgun, or Jord. Not entirely sure why they both can't be her parents. Another fact we need to make is she is not the mother of Thor. She is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but not in Norse mythology. Thor's mother is Jord, also known as Fjorgen or Helodi, which could possibly mean she is Thor's half-sister and stepmother? What? I know, right? God stuff. Hashtag God stuff.
That means Jord would be both his mother and step-grandmother.
Yes. And possibly, also, one of the 9 mothers of Heimdall? I don't think we're not going to get into Heimdall stuff in this episode. That's something else I haven't dug into. I was too involved in other things. Frigg or Frigga and Odin have 3 sons together. Just the 3 sons. The 2 of them only have the 3 sons. Odin has other kids to other people or other women, goddesses, whatever.
Beings.
Yeah. I don't think Frigg has any other sons or any other kids to anybody else. Anyway, Frigg or Frigga and Odin have 3 sons together. Balder, he's important. Holder, he will be extremely important later. And Hermolder, I don't know much about him yet. She is also the stepmother to many of Odin's other children, including Tyr, Vidar, Heimdall, Bragi, and Vali. Of course, Thor too. But we're not going to get into their mothers right now. Heimdall is supposed to have 9 mothers, so yeah, it's complicated. Anyway, this is supposed to be about Frigg. Frigg is the esteemed wife of Odin and the queen of Asgard, holding the highest position among the goddesses. She is the goddess of motherhood, marriage, and prophecy. Frigg is said to know the fates of both gods and men, though she seldom reveals her knowledge. The day Friday could be named after her or Freyja, but I think most interpretations say it's Frigg.
Frigg plays?
Mm-hmm.
Frigg plays a significant and tragic role in the myth of Baldur's death. Having dreamed his imminent demise, or possibly Baldur dreamed of his own imminent demise. Either way, she desperately sought to protect her beloved son by extracting oaths from all things in creation, every animal, plant, stone, and element, not to harm him. Despite her exhaustive efforts, she overlooked the mistletoe, believing it too young and harmless. This oversight was exploited by Loki, leading to Baldur's death. Her profound grief over Baldur's loss is a central aspect of this myth.
Oh man. Foreshadowing? Spoilers? No, neither one of those. We actually just straight up said what happens, but how it happens will be extremely important. Go ahead, read the next one.
Frigg's character, possessing prophetic knowledge yet powerless to prevent Baldur's fated death despite her desperate efforts, powerfully illustrates the theme of inevitable fate, in Norse mythology. Even divine foreknowledge cannot alter destiny. Her maternal love and her ultimate failure to save Baldur underscore the tragic element of the Norse worldview, where even the most powerful gods are bound by a predetermined cosmic narrative. This also highlights that knowledge is not always power, especially when confronted with the unchangeable threads of fate.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of reminds me of, in Hercules, the movie,
Okay.
there's the 3 fates.
Yes. 3 fates. That seems to be a an ongoing theme for different things, because the Well of Erd has 3 Norns in there that talk about fate and they pull the strings of fate, pull the strings of destiny.
And at the end of the journey, this string will be cut.
Whoa. Just cut strings.
And that's when lives end.
Yes. That seems to be a theme across many different mythologies. I think
It's in Greek mythology.
it's in Egyptian mythology too. Calypso? Or is that the Greek one? I don't know. One day we'll find out.
One day.
All right. Now about Freyja. The deeper I dig, the more I believe they are 2 different entities. There are definitely arguments and interpretations of them being the same being. There are equal arguments for them being separate. Again, the chronology of the stories doesn't necessarily add up.
It's every which way.
Yeah, so if Frigg and Freyja are the same, that means I don't know. I think Freyja has other kids, and Freyja's father is definitely Njord, and she has a twin brother Freyr. But when did Freyja leave Vanaheim to marry Odin? And then they have the kids together. That's why I think Frigg and Freyja are different. But digging through like the original stories and the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda, Snorri Sturluson and stuff, I think that the interpretations are not necessarily not right, but not. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's different interpretations. It's just somebody's opinion. Like, this says this thing, and I'm pretty sure it means this thing. Well, another person could read it and be like, no, if that means that, then this thing would mean that too. It's just interpretations. It happens with the Bible too. That's why there's a bajillion different denominations of Christianity. Sometimes we go to the Lutheran Church, but we've been to a Baptist church. My mother went to an Episcopalian church. What does that mean? I have no idea. There's Jehovah's Witnesses out there. There's Mormons out there, which those things are crazy in themselves. Crazy to us. Sorry, crazy to us. They're non-traditional to our way of life.
There's also Catholics.
Right.
And so many others.
Right. So all those are various interpretations of the original Christian cult. It was a cult when I first started.
As all religions are.
Freyja, the twin sister of Freyr, is a multifaceted and powerful goddess, encompassing domains of love, fertility, beauty, war, and satyr, magic, and shamanism. She is often described as the most beautiful of all goddesses. Freyja has a unique role in the afterlife, receiving half of those slain in battle in her sacred meadows of Folkvanger, sharing them with Odin. That's interesting. She travels in a chariot pulled by cats. Also weird. Weird to us. It was cool then. Freyja is also credited with teaching Odin the magic art of satyr. Yes.
And satyr is basically what?
Shamanism.
Or what medieval people, like 1800s.
What?
Witchery.
1800s or medieval?
I don't know.
More like 14 to 1600.
1800s people. They would call that witchery.
Yes. Witchcraft, yes. Burn her! And Odin did. 3 times. But we'll get into that.
Oh.
And that's how things got crazy. Go ahead, read the next part.
One thing I do want to say is, I first lost what I was going to say, but now I have it. The stories of these are basically like a food web.
All right.
Because they're every which way. One part can go here, here, and even over there. But then that part can go there.
Yeah.
It's not just here, it's also there.
The narratives are all over the place. Yeah. And I think that's part of the problem with Snorri Sturluson's authorship, his interpretations of what's going on, because if he didn't get the story, it seems to me that if he didn't get the story directly from somebody, if there are parts missing, he just made them up. Bro, you are not, you were Norse. You're just some dude.
You're
a skald.
Christian
He was a tavern poet. Yeah. So placated the Danes. Like, they took all their stories and kind of Christianized them and filled in stuff that he thought would work. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's my opinion. Whatever.
No food chains here, only food webs.
Exactly. Food webs. It's all over the place. There's no Norse chains. They're all Norse webs.
No chronological straight order.
Doesn't seem to be.
Definitely not.
Except for that creation part. Muspelheim, Niflheim come together in Gunningal Gap. Created Ymir. Suddenly there's a cow. Where did the cow come from? We don't know. And other things happen. God stuff. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Ymir is Earth.
Yep.
He is.
Odin, Billy, and Valley killed Ymir. How'd they kill him? We don't know. And they turned his body into Midgard. What? It's bananas.
Ymir equals Earth.
Somehow. Imagine a giant, size of Earth, and all the parts that we are on, that giant. The clouds are brains.
Teeth are bone. No. Teeth are rocks.
Mountains.
Mountains.
The oceans are his blood. Earth was living. Or it is living? Maybe Ymir's not dead.
He was transformed.
Into Gaia.
And whenever I picture like Earth being created from Ymir, I picture like a skull, but then where brain would go, Earth is in there.
It's not just that. It's just the clouds that are his brains. All the other parts are all kinds of other natural things on the Earth. So this guy every once in a while, his brains juice out and it rains on us.
Or they rub together and create thunder and lightning.
Ymir's thinking.
He's brainstorming.
Good one. We should keep going with this. Yeah. We're not done talking about Freyja yet.
No, we're only 44 minutes in.
Already 44 minutes in. You know, we're still talking about Odin and his wife or wives. Her parents.
Her parents are Njord and an unnamed Vanir goddess who is speculated to be Nerthus, Njord's sister.
Ooh, gross.
That happens so much. She is married to Older.
Yep.
Who is often identified with Odin and is frequently absent. Together they have two taught
You gonna make this? You gonna be alright?
2 daughters,
Anos?
Henos and Germisi,
I would say Gersemi.
Gersemi. At Ragnarok, Freyja is fated to fight the fire giant Suter.
That's also crazy. So that tells us that her lover in Vanaheim, she wasn't in Asgard yet, was older. But it's very likely Oder was one of the forms that Odin took when he was on his travels. Frequently absent. That's when he was taking care of business in Asgard. And every once in a while he'd come back to see Freyja and their daughters. So Freyja and Frigg sounds like they're separate beings. With that said, because Frigg doesn't have the 2 daughters, she has the 3 sons with Odin.
Yeah.
And so then Odin has, just keep checking the boxes for Odin's kids. Odin just has piles of kids.
Oh.
And then Freyja is fated to fight the fire giant Suter. Yikes.
Burn the witch.
Oh, man. How would you say such a thing? One of her most famous possessions is Brisingamen, a magnificent necklace considered the most beautiful in the world. A myth recounts how she acquired it from 4 dwarves by spending a night with each. Freyja, what are you doing, man?
Usually there's 7 doors.
Ooh, just 4 this time. She got through 4 of them, and then she got a necklace.
Necklace.
Achievement.
Yay! Necklace.
Go ahead.
Freyja embodies seemingly contradictory domains: love, beauty, fertility, life-giving, and war, death, and satyr, potentially destructive or manipulative. Freyja represents a powerful, multifaceted, feminine divine principle that encompasses both creation and destruction, allure and danger. Her mastery of satyr suggests a deeper, more primal form of magic, contrasting with Odin's wisdom-based magic. Her ability to receive half of the slain warriors underscores her connection to death and the afterlife, blurring the lines between realms. She is a force that can both bring prosperity and ignite conflict, embodying the dynamic interplay of opposites within the Norse cosmos.
The funny thing is, she taught Odin about satyr. He never bothered to teach her about the runes. I don't think, anyway. But she's pretty powerful all by herself.
Maybe she didn't want to give up the sacrifice to have the runes.
No, true. But he could have taught her, right?
If you need sacrifice, there's always got to be a balance.
True. You have to sacrifice something to use the magic, right? When did I just see that at?
I've seen that in, like, some TikToks or videos will have skits of different movies. And I've seen one where there's many people, there's like a class and people are doing magic. And in order to make a rock float, there was one girl who did it first, and she wasn't holding the other thing, which was a flower on the desk, and so her hand shriveled up.
Oh boy, yeah, that's bad. Don't shrivel up your hand to make a rock float.
There's always sacrifice to that magic. So then the teacher taught the other students to hold the flower while levitating the rock for the balance.
So you pull the energies from the flower to cause the rock to float.
Yes.
Interesting. Give and take. The Aesir-Vanir War was ignited by the Aesir's harsh treatment of Freyja. Odin, the chief of the Aesir, perceived her mastery of Satyr, a powerful, often dark, and destiny-altering form of magic, primarily practiced by women, as a direct threat to Asgard's traditional virtues of physical strength and honor. Despite having learned Satyr himself from Freyja while disguised, Odin dubbed her Gullveig, meaning gold greed, and attempted to execute her 3 times by throwing her into a fire. However, Freyja, possessing the power of resurrection, rose repeatedly from the ashes. The Vanir, witnessing this brutal treatment of their goddess, grew enraged and initiated a brutal war against the Aesir. The Aesir relied on physical prowess and weaponry, while the Vanir utilized their magical skills. The war raged on for many years, causing considerable devastation to both sides, with neither achieving a decisive victory. We'll talk more on the resolution of the conflict later. That's another reason I think Freyja and Frigg are different beings. If I understand it right, Frigg was already Odin's wife before the Aesir-Vanir War. So Freyja was a guest or visitor from Vanaheim and displayed her powers that Odin seemed to covet and practice himself. He then had her burned 3 times because she practiced it. Why are you doing this? Hypocrite. Hypocrite. Odin's good, he's bad, he's good, he's bad. Pursuit of knowledge, hypocrite.
He burned the witch.
Yeah, he burned the witch 3 times. And it didn't take any of those times. I think we're probably going to end the episode here because we're already just about an hour in. There's more God stuff to talk about. Thor has a crazy amount of stuff to talk about. Maybe we'll go into a little bit of detail for the Aesir-Vanir War before we start talking Thor and Loki stories. Because Thor has stories, Loki has stories, they have stories together. And we will talk about the various treasures that everybody has. So, not only does Thor have Mjolnir, which we'll talk about how and why that was created. It's a whole thing too. That's why we can't talk about it now, because it's a whole thing. But he also has a power belt and a strength gauntlet. But he needed those to wield Mjolnir. We didn't know that. I had no idea myself. The MCU doesn't tell us that stuff. It's just like Thor beckons the hammer, and there it is.
You have to be worthy to beckon the hammer, and/or now in the MCU, Stormbreaker.
Right.
The axe.
We need to see if that is a wholly Marvel thing or a wholly MCU thing. I don't think Stormbreaker is in Norse mythology itself.
And the Snorri took it out.
Snorri. He added stuff. I don't know if he took anything out. That guy.
Maybe he thought it was too much.
We'll get into the various, like, Odin has a ring that replicates itself. What else does he have? A spear? Is that the other thing he has?
I know what he doesn't have.
What doesn't he?
An eye.
That's messed up. So Odin has the ring that replicates itself. There's Mjolnir. There's a boar called Gullinbursti. These are all gifts. Or not gifts, but trickery from Loki, from dwarves. He made dwarves create things for everybody. So Gullinbursti, Gullinbursti, Mjolnir, Draupnir, and a few other things. Skidblanir, hair for Sif. That's a whole thing too. Freaking Loki doing stuff. Gungnir, the spear belonging to Odin.
Yeah.
But hold on. Isn't that what he pierced himself with when he hung from the tree?
Yeah.
So that means the story of Loki tricking the dwarves into making all these treasures for the gods happened before Odin decided to hang himself from the tree to learn about the runes. Chronology is killing me.
Or maybe Snorri added one of the two.
Just keeps putting stuff in the timeline. Like Star Wars. So Star Wars has a beginning, has an end. But we just keep making animated things and movies and stuff that live inside of this timeline. You know what I'm saying? There's a timeline that was from the birth of Anakin Skywalker to, now they're going to change it, the end of Rey, the Last Jedi, right? I think that's what it is. The Rise of Skywalker, not the Last Jedi. The Rise of Skywalker, I think. But they just keep making shows like there's a period between the original trilogy, no, between the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy, where Obi-Wan was just on stuff. But now there's a couple of seasons of a show showing what Obi-Wan was doing. And there's stuff in the beginning of, like, right as Anakin became Darth Vader, there's a whole new series that's in the middle of that. Mandalorian is in there someplace. They just keep piling more stuff inside the timeline.
It's like
that we already have established. We know what's at the beginning. We know how it ends. Can we write other stuff? Do we need to know all the middle stuff that Obi-Wan did? That's what bugs me about the Star Wars universe. Hot take? Thanks.
As a beginning, there's an end. But the middle just...
So there's no stakes, is what I mean. Like we already know what's going to happen. Why do we need to tell that story? Like it was a mystery. What Obi-Wan was doing. Suddenly he was on Tatooine, hanging out with Luke Skywalker after he beat up his dad. It was a mystery, but now we know. There's no stakes in that story. Like, is he in danger? No, he's never in danger because he's going to end up here. R2-D2 is never in danger either. You know why? Because he's the entire trilogy, or the entire series of Star Wars. All 9 movies. R2-D2 is never in danger. He's never going to die. That's what bugs me about all that. It's cool. It's fun. But we already know what's going to happen.
Don't need more food webs.
Anyway, some stories. We told some stories about Norse mythology. Question brought.
Question answered.
That's it. Oh no, it's it. A production of Wayward Things Network.